How's it going? Make sure everything's working good. I hope everyone's doing okay. I'm gonna check just to make sure because okay, it looks like it's working. I hope I don't get or I hope I don't have any issues with OBS today because I had my computer did one of those updates, so I hope everything's set up good. And the music I was going to be playing there obviously did not play very well, if you could even hear it. But let's do this. We're going to start right away. I just want to talk to you guys about motion. Very simple subject. Something is either in motion or it is not in motion. That pretty much covers everything that exists, okay? Some things that exist are in motion. Here, let me adjust my mic here a little bit. Okay, some things that exist are in motion, and some things that exist are not in motion. And it is very clear to a human being who has perception using senses what is in motion and what is not. And we're going to, one of my colleagues, Professor Dave, has a few things to say. What we're going to do is we're going to listen to Professor Dave about just a short little clip here, and then we're actually going to watch a good part of a video that he made. But I'm going to play a little clip of it right now, and I want you to just listen carefully to what he says and think to yourself in your mind whether or not you agree with what he says. Okay, whoops, sorry about that.
But that's why we tend to discuss relative motion. We don't notice the movement of the Earth and the Sun and the galaxy in our everyday lives. To us, the Earth seems to sit still. But that's why we tend to discuss relative motion. We don't notice the movement of the Earth and the Sun and the galaxy in our everyday lives. To us, the Earth seems to sit still.
Would you agree with him? In our daily lives, or actually ever, no one has ever actually observed the Earth in motion, okay? I was talking to someone yesterday, and they were arguing that people have seen the Earth in motion on the space station. And there's a confused way of thinking right there. The space station, if we were to say what it's actually doing, is the space station in motion? Yes. It launched from the ground, and it had to go 17,000 miles an hour sideways in order to do what it's doing. So the space station's in motion, not the Earth. And this person I was talking to, and I'll just say right now is my dad, but he said, no, they can look out the window of the space station and they see the rotation of the Earth. And I said, that's not at all true. Nobody sees the rotation of the Earth. They see the velocity that they're moving above the Earth, just like a bird flying over the Earth sees the Earth going by as it flies over, right? Let's listen to Professor Dave one more time.
But that's why we tend to discuss relative motion. We don't notice the movement of the Earth and the Sun and the galaxy in our everyday lives.
Dave's wrong here, guys. Did you hear what he just said? We don't notice the motion of the Earth, so he's correct there. But then he said the Sun. I'm going to show you, I'm going to go find a video of the Sun, just so you know. The Sun moves, and everyone alive, observes the motion of the Sun in the sky, okay? So, sorry, Dave, you're already wrong there.
To us, the Earth seems to sit still.
And you're correct there, Dave. So, I don't like to correct my fellow professors of science and physics. But when they say something that's clearly untrue, I have to point it out, okay? So nothing against Professor Dave, but apparently he must have not went to Harvard like I did. I'm just kidding. So we're actually going to watch Dave's clip, or a video about relative motion, and we'll talk about how confused these people are, because there's something that everyone needs to understand about how would you tell if something's in motion? Doesn't matter what it is. If anything, if you were you're standing outside and you see a bird fly over your head, and we could say the bird is in motion. How do you know that the bird's in motion? What do you use to decide whether or not the bird was in motion? It's not relativity. It's not relativity or anything like that. You use your senses. You use your eyes, and you see the bird in motion. That's how you know it's in motion, okay? So when we see with our eyes, and we sense with our sense of balance, and we feel it with the bottom of our feet, the earth being still, that's called an observation. And I'm going to bring up to you, if I told you that you observe a stationary and still earth beneath your feet, any honest person would not argue with that. And like Dave here, Dave's being an honest person for the most part in this. He's not saying that the earth is moving. He's actually saying that to us. I'll let him say it.
But that's why we tend to discuss relative motion. We don't notice the movement of the earth and the sun and the galaxy.
See, how can he say that? We don't notice the movement of the earth, true, or the sun, untrue. Like, there's a problem in this world with observation. People observe with their mind instead of their eyes or their ears or the senses that we have. So if I made up a story in my mind and I said, that's the reality I live in, and then someone pointed out something that I actually observe, that everyone actually observes, if I'm dishonest, I'm going to argue with that. I'm going to say, no, but I said that it's in motion or whatever. I said that this. And so let's, we'll just get into this a little bit, and I'll probably stop his video during it to point out where other places where he's actually totally mistaken. But, so Professor Dave, just so you know, you just said something that is untrue. You said that to us, that we don't observe or we don't see the sun in motion. That's not true at all. Everyone alive sees the sun in motion if they have eyes, okay? Everyone. Just like the stars. So, and no one observes the ground in motion, okay? So this is like a psychological problem, or maybe that's not the right word. A mental problem. It's a thinking problem. It's a problem that's taking place in the brain, not in the observation, because they're actually not interested in the observation. But I'll stop talking now and let's just check this out.
Professor Dave here. Let's talk about relative motion.
He knows a lot about the science stuff. Professor Dave explains.
By now, we understand that physics is concerned with the motion of objects and the quantitative analysis of that motion. But this can be tricky business if you really think about the fact that everything is in constant motion. When we say that a car is moving at 100 kilometers per hour on the freeway, we are ignoring the fact that the surface of the Earth is rotating around the center at about 1,700 kilometers per hour.
Okay, time to bust FTFE and MC Toon in their little games that they play. Their mind games, okay? Did you hear MC Toon and FTFE? Did you guys just hear what Professor Dave, your buddy, your compadre, did you hear what he just said? He just said that the Earth is spinning at 1,037 miles an hour at the equator. It's rotating at a speed in kilometers per hour. And because if you say that to MC Tune or FTFE, they're going to scold you and try to laugh at you and get their people to laugh at you, because we don't measure rotation in miles per hour. Well, guess what, guys? Yeah, we do. Because the surface of the Earth at a point on the equator would be actually traveling that fast if the Earth was rotating, which it's not.
At the equator. Earth is also moving around the sun at around 30 kilometers per second.
I want to point out that, keep in mind, guys, that the thing, okay, we left reality already in Professor Dave's movie or video here. We left reality. Just realize the difference between, back to where we were, I'm going back in the video. Okay, the car driving on the road, this is a legitimate part of reality. I know it's a cartoon on the screen, but the concept of a car driving down the road at 100 kilometers per hour, that's part of reality, okay? And now, right after this is when it goes into imagination. It's something that people imagine. They believe it. It's faith. They think it. They came up with the idea, and you were taught these things as a child. So they're really, really stuck in our minds, right? But none of it's even verifiable. So I just want to point out, okay, reality here, and then he's going to go into imaginary space land right now.
We are ignoring the fact that the surface of the Earth is rotating around the center at about 1,700 kilometers per hour at the equator. Earth is also moving around the sun at around 30 kilometers per second. The entire solar system moves around the galactic center at 20 kilometers per second, and the Milky Way galaxy is moving through the universe at about 230 kilometers a second. So it's not completely wrong.
Just a reminder to Professor Dave, that's not science, buddy. Not at all. The solar system? Do you think have you been to the solar system? Who here knows if there even is a solar system? Because no one's ever observed it. Because even Professor Dave says that we don't notice the sun moving when we clearly do. Everybody does. That's how we have sunrise and sunset and daytime and nighttime, because of the sun rising and setting. Okay, so I'm going to try my best in this stream to have anyone that is watching this stream pay attention to reality and not imaginary, concept land. Because there is it. Okay, we'll never get through this if I don't let it play. All right.
To say that the car is actually moving with this incredible speed as well, meaning that in a certain context, there's practically no difference between flying in a plane and sitting still in terms of absolute velocity. But that's why we tend to discuss relative motion. We don't notice the movement of the Earth and the Sun and the galaxy in our everyday lives. To us, the Earth seems to sit still, and a few dozen kilometers an hour may be insignificant in the grand scheme of the universe, but it's a big deal to the cop with a radar gun ready to pull you over. So we often discuss motion that is relative to the surface of the Earth. When we do this, we are assigning something called an inertial reference frame. This is the object or person or location that we pretend is completely still, and we assess the motion of other objects relative to this inertial reference frame. For example, if we treat the Earth as an inertial reference frame and we ignore its rotation and movement through space, it becomes meaningful to say that this car is moving directly north at 100 kilometers per hour.
Okay, let's just do what Dave said. If we forget or if we ignore that the Earth is rotating and that it's going around the sun, and have Earth be our reference frame, our inertial reference frame, then that would be reality, guys. Okay, do you see where they're adding to reality by saying that the Earth is rotating and that all these other things? But in reality, the Earth never moves, and the car moves over the Earth at a certain speed. That's reality. So everything that we have a conversation about, the inertial reference frame is the Earth. And that's part of my argument. The inertial reference frame for anything you've ever experienced is the Earth. Anything else is just a theory or an idea or just a concept, imagination. It doesn't mean anything.
Relative to the ground. But if we are inside the car, moving with constant velocity, it seems as though we are not moving, but...
No, Dave, quit being dumb. I'm going to start to rant. Look what it says on the screen. The surroundings move at that speed. Okay, who's a human being with a brain? If you're in a moving car, all the things appear to be going by you because you're moving in a car. And you know that they're stationary and you're driving by them. This is not a difficult concept. And you'll understand why I'm bringing this up. Because I'm going to show you some YouTube chat comments or whatever after this. And every time, and you can go out and try this, if you say to someone, the Earth is stationary, look at the ground. It's not moving. You've never seen it move. No one's ever observed rotation. The first thing you're going to hear is, what if you're in an airplane with no windows or a train with no windows and you can't tell that you're moving? And I'm like, in your story that you just set up. Okay, this is good. Sean's here. What's up, Sean? Debate night in the chat. You guys don't time Sean out or hide his comments, please. I think that Sean knows the boundaries here. He's not going to use, bad language or what, foul language. He might seem insulting, but Sean is probably a nice guy, whatever. He's just on the other side of the debate here. So I'm glad you're here, Sean, because I do want to point out to you that when you say that I don't understand reference frames, I hope you understand that this video right here, if you just got here, we were just talking about inertial reference frames. And it isn't something that a toddler can't understand. A toddler can understand it, okay? So if you're going to say that I don't understand reference frames, you're saying that simply so that you can discount what I say, right? Discount what I point out. Sean, look at the floor in the room you're in right now. I can make a guarantee that it's not moving. You are observing it still and not in motion, okay? Would you agree with that? I think anybody that lives on Earth should understand that the ground never moves. And the inertial reference frame is the ground. Everything that you do is relative to you because you're the only one perceiving it from the place that you are. Okay? A lot of this stuff is concept. But, so, I'm going to play a little more of this video.
Rather that the surroundings are rushing past us at 100 kilometers per hour. The car has become the inertial reference frame that is standing still, and everything is in motion around us. It may seem strange to pretend that the car isn't moving, but remember, it's just as incorrect to pretend that the Earth isn't moving. So
okay, so I'm seeing the chat here. Debate Night saying, I've proven that you don't. What you're saying right now, this instant proves you don't. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question, Debate Night. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to answer it in the chat because it'll help this conversation be more meaningful to you and to me and to anybody here, okay? And the question I'm asking isn't a yes or no answer. It's I need an answer from you, okay? And this is the question. What observation do you make that is evidence of the Earth rotating? Just give me one example, if there is one. How do you observe the rotation of the Earth? That is my question. So while we're waiting for debate night to give us an answer, I like what Ron Hagberg says, we feel motion or there would not be motion sickness. And here's the thing. Okay, if I'm riding in a jet or a plane, and it's the smoothest plane ever, and we're not accelerating or decelerating, and basically there's no windows on it, so if you're sitting in that airplane flying, you can't really tell that you're flying, except that you had to get into the airplane and take off in order to get to that place. So you already know you're flying. So these hypothetical situations are meaningless, and they say nothing about the fact that the ground never appears to move unless there's an earthquake or a landslide. Okay, Sean, debate night gave us an answer. He says, circular star trails. If the stars were rotating, they would be oval. No, the stars are they're circular. Sean, I'm going to talk about your test for a minute, so I hope you're happy, okay? Sean is always bringing up this test to go out into the garage, and basically what he's trying to do is if you had, I think the way that you had set it up was to have the camera spinning to get the star trails, but if you had a bunch of lights on the ceiling in your garage, and you put the camera in the center of the garage and spun the camera, you'd get circular star trails, okay? But see, Sean, you're inferring some type of model that that nobody is interested in. Because when you say that there would be oval star trails, what he's saying is that if you went away, like if we apply it to the Earth and the sky in reality, if you were at the North Pole and you looked up at zenith, directly up, that you would see circular star trails. You'd see the stars circling around that center point. And then if you moved to 45 degrees in Minnesota where I am, he's saying that you would see oval star trails. You wouldn't see a circle anymore because you'd be further away. You'd be closer to some stars and farther away from others. I understand that concept, but the problem is you're trying to define how the sky works, and you're inferring a false idea because there are no such thing as oval star trails, debate night. So that's dumb. Do you get what I'm saying? Your test doesn't prove anything. Your test proves that you've inferred a model of the sky that doesn't exist. Okay? Of course it's going to be wrong, Sean. Your test will prove that it's wrong. Right? Hey, Skull Asylum, good to see you here. So what I'm saying is that your test what we would get is that if we moved away from the center of the garage, I don't remember exactly how you set up the test, but we would see oval star trails. But your garage ceiling is not the sky. You can't say that your garage ceiling is the sky and then say that you've proved something or say that your test is legitimate, because it's not. So Debate Night says, yes, we don't see oval star trails because we aren't stationary. Two different topics. You're putting two things together. And the reason why I'm addressing the chat right now is because this is part of the topic. Okay. Yes, we'll see. Sean, if you point your camera up at the sky, you're going to see circular star trails, okay? This is reality. So don't add to reality some false thing and then put it on me. Do you get what you're doing? You're proposing some model of the sky that you think I believe in, or that you think I think exists, well, guess what? I have a lot of telescopes and optics, and I take a lot of footage of the sky. You're never going to see oval star trails, buddy. Get it? Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm interested in reality, and reality says that the sky is in motion. Everyone observes this. Everyone observes that the sky is in motion. Relative to what? Relative to the only place you've ever been, your body. Get it? So then debate night says, see, you're deflecting and obfuscating. You're running. And I've asked you to debate me before, Sean. Why do you run away from a debate? If I'm wrong, the test will show. You know what the test will show? The test will show that you think that you have a model of the sky on your garage ceiling. That's what the test will show. But nope, I guess the test is wrong because your sky doesn't match with this. Or I mean, your garage ceiling doesn't match with the sky. That's what you'll learn. Okay. And it's not about me being right or wrong. What it is it's to run away from the truth and hide the truth from yourself. So, in reality, we all observe a stationary ground, which even Professor Dave will admit that. He's truthful there. I wonder if debate night would be truthful and say that we observe a stationary Earth, every single one of us. The ground appears to be still. Star trails, no matter what debate night, they'll never tell you anything about the ground, the shape of the ground, the geography, the hills and valleys of the Earth. You're going to get that from looking up at the stars. That's confusion. So, let's do this. Let's go to, let me change some things up here really quick. Hey, I got to ask you guys in the chat, was there a trailer, like a trailer playing before this live stream, if anybody knows? I'm just curious. Sean, I don't understand how you can't get this. It's going right over your head. Now, just tell me, in your test, do you spin the camera or do you spin something on the ceiling? Like, do you have a piece of cardboard on the ceiling that you're spinning? Or is it that you spin the camera? Because if you spin the camera, that's not a test. Because when we do star trails, we don't spin the camera. Okay, so here we go. Now we're going to get into what's honest and what's not. Debate night says, no, I observe a rotating Earth because I know the reality of it. So you never answered my question. What evidence is it that you have of the ground rotating? And Sean, saying I'm afraid or hiding, you can stop with those comments or you will get timed out. Because I'm obviously right here live on YouTube right now, entertaining your comments. So don't tell me I'm afraid or running away. You're hiding. Okay, get it? Hey, questions and the answers, and Thomas Morgan, good to see all you guys. And Scott Studo, good to see all you guys. And Coffee House Theology, Tony. I'm just going up through the names. Ron Hagberg, Skull Asylum. Going up. What Curve? I like that. That's a good channel name. What Curve? Welcome. And I hope I'm not going to miss anybody. I'm going all the way to the top. Knowledge, Gnaw, Lidge. Welcome. Captain Caveman's here. Wake Up is here. Welcome. Amanda Joe. I don't know. I hope I'm saying that right. Welcome. Going Gold, welcome. Chemtrail Cowboy, welcome. And J Bone, welcome. I think I got everybody, but if I didn't, I meant to. Okay, looking for an answer from Debate Night, hopefully. Okay, he says, we most certainly do spin the camera because it's attached to the Earth that is spinning on an axis. Okay, but you don't observe that though. You actually you set the camera out on the ground and you don't move it. You don't touch it during a star trails. If you touch it, it ruins the star trails. So everything you're saying, Sean, it's like the opposite of the truth. The ground that we set the camera on, it could be moving. It could be a globe, and we wouldn't be able to feel the motion. Great, but none of that is observed. We just observe the ground being still. Okay, Sean, I'll find your question there. Let's see. You're live telling me the reason why you're afraid to take the test. So I was asking, I got to find your answer for the question. I didn't see you answer the question. You said you observed a rotating Earth. I want you to tell me what evidence you have of a rotating Earth. But I don't see that answer anywhere. Nowhere. And what, could you put your question in again, Debate Night? I didn't, Debate Night, and then he's afraid to debate me. Come on. Debate Night, what does that mean? That you don't show up or when it's debate night or what? I don't get it. Why'd you name your channel that? That's interesting. Because I'd debate you. As long as I'd you know what, Sean? I'll have you on my channel. I'll have you on my channel for a discussion or a debate or whatever you want to call it. As long as you watch your language. And I know that you're not going to insult me beyond, like, too bad. Okay, here we go. Debate Night says, when I want to track a star, I align my telescope with the... no, that's not what you do. He says, I will align my telescope with the axis of the Earth that spins, and the telescope spins in the opposite direction at the same rate. No, that's not at all how you track a star. You don't line it up with the axis of the Earth. You line it up to the north. Well, if you live in the north, you line it up to the north axis of rotation of the sky. You point it up at the sky. That's how you align your telescope. You don't align it to the ground. I'm at 45 degrees from Polaris. That's where I am in Minnesota. So when I align my telescope to do anything, I align it with the center of rotation in the sky. Because there is no center, there is no point axis of rotation of the Earth. Point to where it is. Where is it? Towards the ground or up, or where is it? How do you set your telescope on that, or what do you do? You're making all that up. Get it? Okay, do birds fly or do they float? They fly, obviously. Birds can float too. Ever seen a duck, buddy? Okay, let's see here. Yeah, sorry, Sean. I'll point out everything that's flawed with what you're saying. Just like I did with Dave when he said the sun, we don't see the sun moving. Yeah, birds, they can go all over the place. They can go in the water, underwater. But yeah, bringing up birds, I don't know why you're bringing up birds, because they obviously fly in the sky, which is birds being in motion. Okay, Debate Night says, I observe them as floating in the air. Sure, you can say it that way. That's fine. Do you observe them as flying? Yes, I observe them as flying. I don't really think you have much of a point to make there, doesn't seem like. Birds fly, man. It's not a mystery. Sorry about the screen that I still have up here. I was actually going to go show you, or I was going to try to find a video. I don't know if I'll be able to find it, of Thomas Morgan brought it up in the chat. Pastor Anderson talking about basically fighting against the Word of God and placing doubt on the Word of God in the name of his church or whatever, his weird religion. Let me find something here, if I can. It might be a challenge to find it, but I'll wait for the chat to kind of, hopefully Sean can put something that makes a little bit of sense in the chat there. Wake Up says, I watch the sun move every day. Me too. That's called an observation. And it's not really that much of a mystery, guys. I would say that it's not hard to comprehend at all. It's more that it's hard to admit because we have this pride in our human knowledge, and in the last 6 or 7 years I've learned that pride is the most hilarious thing ever, because it just goes against the actual truth every time. That's what we were taught in this world. We were taught that the earth is moving when it's not. And people like Debate Night in the chat are actually still trying to argue. And what that is that's dishonesty. At least Professor Dave was honest and said that we observe the earth to be still, and we don't, that's just what it is. And when he's talking about it doesn't matter if earth is the reference frame or not. That's what we observe, is that the earth is not moving. Look at the floor. Look at the floor and tell me it's moving. So let's see here. I'm still trying to find this. Not sure if I'll be able to find it. Pastors 2020. I think it's in this video. We might have to look around and find it a little bit.
People write me, Pastor Jennings, I believe the earth was flat.
I gotta skip to
hindrance to the gospel.
And it's beyond earth.
Or being
oh, here we go.
to the sun, or being at rest is.
Thank you, Thomas Morgan, for reminding me about this.
Subscribers, and I will go on the.
Okay, let's check this out.
And now here he is sending people up to.
Oh, that was awesome. I wish I could do that. We're actually not where I thought we were. And that's not going to work very good. Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys. Okay. I want to just check really quick into the chat before I play this, because I saw some comments. Let's see. Ron Hagberg says the birds aren't moving, the earth is. Smoked turkey, please, QTA. Okay, Debate Night. You observe them as flying because you know they fly. I observe the earth as spinning because I've tested it and I know it does. Oh my word. So my eyes didn't see the bird flying? Is that what you're saying, Sean? You're loony. No, I observed them flying because they were flying and I saw it with my eyes. That's called observing something. What do you observe that tells you the earth is rotating? All you can say is the sky. That's exactly what my dad was saying yesterday. The sky. The sky shows me that it's moving. And I'm like, no, but the sky is in motion. The earth is the part that's not in motion. Just look at it. During this stream, I'm probably going to tell you to look at the floor more than once. Look at the floor. Okay. Sean, email me and we'll do a debate. Email me. EFTUPWORLD@gmail. It's just my YouTube channel at gmail.com. Email me. Let's get a debate going, because I'll debate anybody about this. This is the easiest subject I've ever had to debate. It's so easy. All the evidence is on my side. And all I have to do is say, hey, look at the floor. Tell me it's moving. Why do you think it's moving? Why do you think the floor is moving? Okay. Sean, come on. Let's see here. Okay. Hello, Yaz Child. Good to see you. Testing with the idea to prove what they believe seems wrong. You're dang right, Tony. When you can look at a bird flying and say that, oh, you didn't observe that. You just knew it was flying already. What are you talking about, Sean? Makes no sense. Makes no sense. The bird flies when it flaps its wings, and you can watch it fly. Most people have seen a bird fly. Wow. Let's check out what this crazy pastor says when the Bible points out that the earth is not in motion. Lots of places, but we'll just go with this one verse that this pastor brings up because my dad actually brought up the exact same thing yesterday when he said that everything's in motion. Well, look at the floor once again. I'll tell you what, that's not. The floor's not in motion. See? Look at the floor. Look at the floor. Not in motion. Your foundation of your house hasn't ever moved. Hey, Tiger Bear, good to see you. All right, we're going to watch part of this video if we can find where to get there. All right. Let's listen to Pastor Anderson. Whoops.
And now here he is sending people up to space stations. Elon Musk. Now can you imagine that? Have you any idea right now what's going on? From a horse and a buggy to two astronauts that have just connected with a space station.
All right, you're on the air. How you doing?
Hey, Pastor Anderson. I wanted to ask your, I hear you talk about the flat earth and kind of diss some of their thoughts sometimes. But when I read the Bible, it makes a lot of sense to me. You know what I mean? We all know gravity's just a theory. Evolution's a theory. You know, we know Einstein was a weirdo.
Gravity and evolution don't belong in the same sentence.
Listen, man, okay? If you're a flat earther, you're either a complete idiot or you're an atheist pretending to be a Christian trying to make the Bible look stupid, or both. Okay? And I will go on the record right now. Anyone who is a flat earther is either a complete idiot or they're an infiltrator. Because look, in the 1980s when I was growing up, people talked about the Bible teaching a flat earth. Only atheists talked about that. No Christian ever said that in the 80s or 90s. Atheists were accusing the Bible teaches flat earth. But in reality, the Bible said he hangs the earth on nothing. The Bible says he sits upon the circle of the earth. And so all throughout the Bible, it's never a flat earth. It's always cosmologically and scientifically correct. It was atheists that would try to throw that railing accusation.
Now they don't even have to accuse us of it anymore.
Well, now when I hear these so-called fake Christians claiming that the Bible teaches a flat earth, you know what I think? I think they're just atheists pretending to be Christians trolling.
Wow, that's an awful outlook, isn't it? Isn't that horrible? Like, I know that like in this debate that these people would be like our enemy or whatever in the debate. Like, I'm not saying enemy, but I mean they're on the opposite side of the debate, right? I feel really bad for Pastor Anderson. If he can look at it that way, he just said in Isaiah, it says that he sits upon the circle of the earth. And as though that was proving something about a globe. I don't understand, but I feel bad for him with this outlook. It's horrible. He obviously doesn't know anybody that's a flat earther.
And that's why, by the way, let me say this about the flat earthers. On YouTube, you know, you just get all the...
All right, I'm going to fast forward a little bit because I think he's going to be talking about somebody, some flat earther losing YouTube subscribers or something like that.
1,000 subscribers or something. So I lost less than 1% of my subscribers. So like 99% plus of my subscribers were real. But Tyler Doka, the flat earther, will even engage with you. Like you'll bring up a point and they'll just change the subject to something else. You disprove them on one thing, they just change the subject. It's
kind of like when I say, hey guys, look, the earth is stationary, and they change the subject to, what if you were in an airplane with no windows? Would you be able to tell you're moving? Okay, guess what? Relative motion. Let's go to reality. You've never left the earth. You don't live in space. The earth is the only place you've ever been. It's always been underneath your feet. When you go to bed at night, it's still and stationary. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to fall asleep. Have you ever seen an earthquake? Do you see have you ever experienced one? Do you know how people freak out when their earth starts shaking beneath their feet? And they run outside if they can, or they hide on the floor and they just in terror? The earth's not moving, guys. And to argue that it is dumb. It's just dumb. 20 years ago, I don't think there would be anybody arguing about this. But today, this is a worldwide debate that's happening. And I'm telling you right now that if you go against what you observe, and there's no doubt about what you observe, kind of like when I tell you to look at the floor, notice how it's not moving. It's not moving. Still not moving. Not moving yet. Still. Okay, here's Pastor Anderson.
They are like an intellectual reprobate. It's impossible to talk to them, impossible to reason with them. And so, flat earthers out there, I don't care who you are a complete idiot. Pastor Anderson says you are a fool, you're a complete idiot, and you know what? I'm just doing what your parents should have done a lot. You know, your parents, when you were young...
Hey, wait a minute. So, this guy's a pastor. I just want to... This is off topic, but did he just call me a fool? Didn't Jesus say something about calling people a fool, that you're in danger of hellfire or something? Careful, Pastor Anderson.
Younger, your parents, when you brought up something that stupid, should have given you a spanking for being such an idiot, because the thought of foolishness is sin. And so, you know, we're having to take you to the woodshed verbally because your parents failed to raise you right. That's why you're a flat earther.
Because your parents taught you that there's a solar system and that gravity is a thing, and taught you all this imaginary stuff. You're taking us out to the woodshed? Sorry, guy. You ever read Daniel 7? Read it again. I don't think you're the one taking anyone to a woodshed.
They didn't raise you right. Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, and don't call in either if you're flat earther. We're talking about relativity and actual astronomy.
Now,
okay, they're going to talk about relativity and actual astronomy. So, just so you guys know, I'm an amateur astronomer. I have three telescopes, and I have a P1000, which is kind of like a telescope, and a P900, which is kind of like a telescope. And I have a D5000, a Nikon. I have lots of nice cameras. I bought lots of them and spent tons of my money on them over the years. And I look up at the stars a lot. And if you go to my channel, you'll find out that I even share a lot of video and footage of what I see in the sky through my telescopes. I do it all the time. I even go live sometimes with a live moon tracking, and we track the moon for an hour or whatever. I wonder if Pastor Anderson even has a telescope. Just think about that.
I will say this. The geocentricity people are dead wrong. They were debunked 400 years ago in the 1600s. But geocentric callers are welcome because you can...
Okay, another thing. I know I keep cutting him off, but that's what I'm supposed to do here. Okay, so they were proved... The geocentrism was proved wrong 400 years ago, he says. Yet, there's a debate today. So who proved something 400 years? I don't think anything was proved 400 years ago if we're debating it today, 400 years later.
You can actually reason with the geocentricity people. You know, they just need to learn more about astronomy. They need to learn more about physics. They need to learn more about science. But you know what? I'm not saying that they're infiltrators or complete idiots or atheists posing as Christians. But I will say that about the flat earthers. So geocentric is welcome to call in. Flat earthers, if you call in, I'm going to rip you a new one, all right?
So I'm really wondering, like, I've never called anyone a fake Christian because I don't know their relationship with God. It's not my business to go in and say, you're a fake Christian, you fake Christian. I don't understand this guy's head. I really don't.
All right, we got...
I'll stick Solomon on you, and he'll rip you. No, I'm just kidding. Solomon, calm down. Let me...
All right.
Okay, now here's a great Bible verse. 1 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 30.
Before he reads this, I want to remind you that in Revelation, it talks about what happens if you were to take words out of the book or if you were to add words to the book. And in my mind... what Pastor Anderson's about to do is, to anyone listening, he's trying to cast doubt upon the Word of God.
So let's think about this verse just in regard to what we're talking about right now, about how being in motion or being at rest is relative. So 1 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 30 says, "Fear before him all the earth, the world also shall be stable, that it be not moved." Okay, so we see there from that Bible verse that the earth is at rest, okay, in the sense that it's stable. It's not being moved out of its uniform motion.
Did you hear that? He just said that the earth being at rest is that it is not being moved out of its uniform motion. I want to say a lot of bad words about this guy right now. One starts with R. One starts with S. Okay, anyway. The word motion, Pastor Anderson, and at rest are two opposite things. Just so you know. I'm going to rewind that and let him say that again. Because it's... wow.
Okay, so we see there from that Bible verse that the earth is at rest, okay, in the sense that it's stable. It's not being moved out of its uniform motion. Okay. Yeah. Now, a lot of people who believe in geocentricity, which is obviously ridiculous since that has been thoroughly debunked over 400 years ago, they'll try to point to verses like that and say, see, look, the earth's not moving. And here's the thing. Of course, the earth's not moving in respect to the earth. If your frame of reference is being on the earth, then the earth's not moving to you. And the reason that the earth's not moving is because the earth is stable. And what does it mean to be stable? Does stable mean that you're necessarily stationary? Or absolutely stationary?
Well, there is no definition of absolutely stationary. It's all in reference to another object in uniform motion.
Exactly right. There's no such thing as being just stationary or moving. Because
okay, there's no such thing as being stationary or moving. Everything that ever existed is either stationary or moving. Like, I'll give you an example. Look at the floor. It's not moving. Now wiggle your hand in front of your face. Wiggle your hand. Everybody wiggle your hand like you're waving at somebody. Wave at the TV screen. Is your hand in motion? Yeah, your hand's in motion. Look at the floor. Nope, not in motion. This is so simple. And it all goes back to how we get twisted and tainted and defiled when we start learning the knowledge that is known on this earth. It defiles us. It ruins us. Because a child will tell you, it's obvious the earth isn't moving. Duh. It never moved. And here's the thing. If you ask a 4-year-old, ask them, is the earth moving or not moving? They're seriously going to take a second and think about it. And they're going to look at the floor. And they're going to say, it's not moving. Because they're honest and they know how to make an observation. They're actually better at observations, even though they're just learning how to observe things at that young age. But they're way better at it than indoctrinated, brainwashed adults. So, anyway. So somehow, Pastor Anderson can turn a verse that says, fear before him all the earth, or what does it say? I'll have to go back there, but I think it's might come up again because it's a video that I made and I like to repeat things in videos, so it's probably going to come up right away again.
Because everything is moving and everything is stationary. It just depends on what your frame of reference is. Am I right?
Yeah, it's all relative.
It's all relative, okay? So this is the 1600s, Galileo, relativity. If you don't believe in this, basically you're not even ready for, the 1600s. You're not even ready for a King James yet. You have to go back in time because, this is something that was figured out 400 years ago, folks. Okay. So uniform motion. So the earth basically is stable, meaning that it is in uniform motion. Okay. So uniform motion. So the earth basically is stable, meaning that it is in uniform motion. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why we feel like we're at rest. Just like when I'm on the plane, it's in uniform motion. So I feel like we're at rest. So here's the thing. Is the earth moving with respect to the sun?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's revolving around the sun. Okay. Is the earth moving in respect to the universe around it?
Yeah.
It's rotating, right? It's rotating. It's revolving. But from the perspective of being on the earth, it doesn't feel like it's moving because it's in uniform motion. Just like when I'm on the plane, is the plane moving? Doesn't seem like it when you're on the plane in uniform motion. Just like it doesn't seem like the earth's moving when you're on the earth in uniform motion.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty basic concept, pretty easy, but it leads me into my second point. So point number 1 is that being in motion or being at rest is meaningless because those terms are relative to something else. Okay.
Pastor Anderson doesn't understand what uniform motion is anyway. Let me read to you what the Google says. In physics, uniform motion is defined as the motion wherein the velocity of the body traveling in a straight line remains the same. When the distance traveled by a moving thing is same at several time intervals, regardless of the time length, the motion is said to be uniform. Okay, so it's not changing its speed. That's what it means. So the Earth, are we on a perfect orbit around the sun? Oh, we're not. We're on an elliptical orbit? Oh, what does that mean? That means that the Earth's not in uniform motion, guys. Even in the heliocentric model. Because it changes speeds on its orbit, doesn't it? And I'm saying it as if I believe that, but I don't. Because, once again, I'll remind you, look at the floor. Tell me if it's moving. If you can look at the floor and tell me that it's moving, then there has to be another reason why you're saying it's moving. And that's what my question to anyone is what's that other reason? And all anybody ever says is, the stars move. And I'm like, you just answered the question, or you just contradicted yourself more than ever. The ground's moving because the sky's moving. But the ground's not moving. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Okay, so let's listen to these guys a little more.
It's sort of like this. What if I told you, hey, Solomon, I'm at 350 miles. You're like, where are you, Dad? I'm at 350 miles. What would be your question?
Away from what?
Yeah, 350 miles with respect to what? So just saying, I am at 350 miles is a meaningless statement. Because
Yeah, and who says I'm at 350 miles? That would make no sense. You'd say you were 350 miles from something. Derp. Come on, Pastor Anderson, you can do better than that.
Because there's no reference point.
Yeah.
I am at rest. With respect to what?
Okay, the reference point is always your body. Always. Because even if you were to take a tape measure and measure it, you'd say, well, the tape measure did the measuring. So I didn't even observe it. The tape measure did. No, but you took the tape measure and you measured it, and that was part of reality. So you had to observe it with your eyes to read the tape measure, right?
Look, I'm at rest could mean I'm laying in bed on the earth, or it can mean I'm laying in bed in a first-class flight to Hong Kong, or it can mean I'm at rest in the back of a van driving down the freeway, sleeping in the back of the van. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably where you are. You're probably right. You're probably sleeping in the back of a van. And the van is probably parked somewhere, not in motion. You know, the whole idea of any of these things that they're talking about, an airplane, and you wouldn't know you're in motion if there's no windows and you weren't accelerating or slowing down. Yeah. And what is the basis of all of this hypothetical stuff? That it's all moving over the earth that's not moving. Like your moving train. You wouldn't know if you were moving. Great. But you would, because you had to get on the train, and the train started up and it had to accelerate to the speed that it's at. You can't just pick a scenario and say, yeah, see? It's the dumbest thing. It doesn't have anything to do with the ground. Flying in an airplane or circular star trails or the stars moving in the sky doesn't tell you anything about, one, the shape of the earth, or two, whether it's moving or not. First of all, you have to use your senses and try to notice the reality that you live in, that it's not moving around. It's just sitting in one spot, always. That's the earth we live in. So when I say, what is it that you observe? How do you observe the rotation of the earth? There's Foucault's pendulum. So you can watch a pendulum swing, and apparently that shows you that the earth is in motion. You're insane. Okay. Another one is a gyroscope. I forget what kind it's called. I don't know. Because it measures the drift. That means that the earth is moving. Okay, so you're standing there and you're looking at your device, your apparatus to measure this rotation. And you're saying, see, the instrument measures it because it's so slight, and our body wouldn't be able to tell. So what I'm saying is that you're admitting that your body's observing no motion, nothing moving, and you need an instrument to tell you it's moving. Do you understand that that's not science? That's at all. That's not science at all. That's actually pseudoscience. You're inferring that the earth is moving so that for your argument that the earth is moving. That's your evidence that the earth is moving, is that you're saying that the earth is moving. You believe that the earth is moving, so that's your evidence. Once again, look at the floor. Look at the floor. If you think the floor is in motion, you need your head checked. Now, if you were in the middle of an earthquake, or if you were caught in a landslide somehow, I'll give you a break, and you're not insane, and that you would have the full right to be honest and truthful and say that the earth is moving in that moment that the earthquake was happening, okay? I actually have people bring that up to me when I say, what do you observe, or when I say we never observe the earth in motion or moving at all. They say, what about an earthquake? Well, that would be an earthquake because it is a something that happens that makes the earth move when, in other words, obviously it's not moving otherwise. So when someone brings that up to me, they still don't even understand that in that they're admitting that the ground is stationary all the time. It shouldn't be something that is hard to admit. I don't get it.
So those statements are meaningless unless you have a reference point.
The earth is spinning, and it gives us the seasons.
Not true. So let's watch the rest of this video. Pastor, I'm having I can't remember his name for some reason. Lawson, Charles Lawson. Like, I think he's a good guy, but I also make videos pointing out where he's contradicting the Bible.
Fear before him all the earth. The world also shall be stable, that it be not moved, that it be not moved.
The earth is spinning, and it gives us the seasons.
Who laid the foundations of the earth, that it should not be removed forever, that it should not be removed forever.
Getting deep into the actual movement of the earth.
The Lord reigneth, he is clothed with majesty. The Lord is clothed with strength, wherewith he hath girded himself. The world also is established, that it cannot be moved. The world also is established, that it cannot be moved.
Movement of the earth as it related to the stars and to the sun. There's an odd thing that takes place on this earth. You know that one spin of the earth is 24 hours, okay? That's one day.
In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it. And there is nothing hid from the heat thereof.
If it's spun on a perfect...
Did you understand what I was putting there? The Bible's very clear about these things. The sun goes forth. If something's to go forth, that means it moves. I'm actually going to type something into Google right now. Go forth. I just want to see what we get. The free dictionary says, go forth. To be issued, the command went forth that the taxes should be collected. To go out, the army went forth to battle. The sun goes forth. That means it's in motion. And it's on a circuit. And what is the circuit? Since I'm on the dictionary, I'll look it up. This is what the Bible says. So it's not about me being right or wrong. I'm just sharing with you the truth. Because the Word of God is truth. A circuit is a closed, usually circular line that goes around an object or area. A path or route, the complete traversal of which, without local change of direction, requires returning to the start point. Pretty simple. A circuit, a circle. To make a circuit, to make a circle around something. A circuit, where you end up at the same point. If you go around your block, you're kind of going on a circuit. Might not be shaped like a circle, but I'm going to check the chat here. Hi, guys. Good to see all you guys here. Yeah. I saw Stanley Lebarsky write, Foucault's pendulum, and he capitalizes cults. Yeah, it's just a joke. That's a joke. Your clock has a pendulum on it, and it goes back and forth. That proves the earth is spinning. It proves that time, how about this? That'd be like saying the pendulum moving back on my clock, back and forth on my grandfather clock. That pendulum proves that time is real. that time is happening, right? Come on. Rebel Snarfle says, why in the summer does the sun come over directly overhead and the winter 4 o'clock to the south? That is because when it's wintertime, the sun goes farther away, no matter where you are, because if you're in the south, it's going closer to you. And so in the north, it would be the winter. And it's just the opposite for the opposite. But as the sun goes away from you, its heat is not as extreme. And so it appears to be closer to the horizon and farther away from you during the winter. And during the summer, it's right above you and it's blazing hot. Or it's warmer. You can feel the heat of it more intensely, right? Artist of Elian says, but Joe, if the earth doesn't spin and do stuff, I'll die. That's kind of what I hear from people. It's funny. It just must be this way. It has to. R8 says it must spin because I would be a complete idiot if it didn't. I would be a flat earther if it didn't. Oh boy. I don't know what to say about much more. I just have to say this. Look at the floor. It's not moving. So if we are paying attention, all of these Professor Daves and all these people, they're just completely insane. That's what it is. I'm going to play Professor Dave saying something totally contradictory and something true all in the same sentence. If I can find the video. Where is it? Sorry, guys. Give me a moment. Okay. So, yeah. Wow. These people are not connected to reality at all.
But that's why we tend to discuss relative motion. We don't notice the movement of the Earth and the Sun and the galaxy.
Anybody notice what he just said? Uh-oh, what just happened? That might not be good. He just said, we don't notice the motion of the Earth or the Sun or the galaxy. That's really contradictory. It would be more correct, Professor Dave. If you're a professor, get your stuff together, man. Take that P off your name. That's why I'm Professor Joe, guys, because I'm correcting Professor Dave. Professor Dave, FYI, you're correct. We don't notice the Earth in motion at all. We don't notice any. It appears to be still. But we do notice the motion of the sun. It's called sunrise and sunset, and it goes over your head every day. It makes a day. Wow. Every day it goes over your head. How does that happen? Every day it comes back around. So, do you see how they can't say something truthful? There's got to be a lie involved. And it's not that they're necessarily lying, but it is a lie.
But that's why we tend to discuss relative motion. We don't notice the movement of the Earth and the Sun.
What in the world is wrong with these people? We don't notice the movement of the Earth and the Sun. They're both opposites. The Sun's moving and the Earth is not. We do notice the motion or the movement of the Earth. The Sun. Why would you say we don't? But then you say we don't notice the movement of the Earth, which is correct. Anyway, so Professor Dave is just Dave. Sorry, guys.
But that's why we tend to discuss relative motion. We don't notice the movement of the Earth and the Sun and the galaxy in our everyday lives. To us, the Earth seems to sit still.
So to us, the Earth seems to sit still. What that means is that we observe the Earth to be still. And so before they start their pseudoscience, they've established that the Earth is not still. So if you throw out your observation, that's not science. If you go the opposite direction of your observation, that's not science. If you look at something and like it was brought up in the chat, a bird flying. Do we observe a bird flying? Yeah. So let's just say we watched a bird fly over right now. We just watched him fly over right now. If I was to say that we observed a bird flying, is that difficult? It's not. It's just honest. It's just truth. It's just a fact. Okay? If you want to figure out how the bird can fly through the air, you can figure something out. We can do science to learn a lot about this. But if you say, if I said, did we observe the bird flying? And we did, you'd say, or if someone said, no, we observed the bird not flying, that wouldn't be science. Or if you said, well, I already know that the bird's not flying, so that's where you're going to start. You're going to start with something that's completely opposite of what you observe and is the opposite of the reality that you're trying to learn about in your pseudoscience. It's not going to work. It's not science at all. So Professor Dave, you need to make some observations of the world you live in before you make any more dumb statements, okay? Let's do this. I think I'm going to wrap it up pretty quick, but there was a NASA thing, and they, well, I'll just play it for you guys here.
Vice President Harris. I'll never forget getting out of my seat on my first space flight in 2001 and looking out the window for the very first time. You see the Earth as this big round ball just floating there in the blackness of space, and you immediately get this sense how we are all in this together. And I know that everybody in this room understands how important space will be, understanding the causes and effects of global climate change. Space-based scientific research is crucial. Lastly, and this is something that's
Hold on, I got more. This next video is goes out for Coffee House Theology. I don't know if he's even here still, but oh, wait a minute. I got something else too. Basically, if you can't, well, here, this is the attitude. This is the position that they take. Okay.
When you follow science, the observation doesn't match reality. It means nothing if it's just an observation.
Okay. That was in a debate that I had with Craig. Did you hear what he just said? I'll play it again.
When you follow science, the observation doesn't match reality.
Do you see what I have on my screen during that debate? I have that little arrow spinning, and I have star trails in motion, moving. That's reality.
It means nothing if it's just an observation. We have science. You can't just go, it looks like, because my camera was still, that the sky is rotating, therefore that's what we're going with. That's not how you do science.
But the sky is literally rotating.
No, it looks like it's rotating.
Exactly. We experience it rotating.
Yeah, okay, so now we need to test that.
Okay, so people tell me to test that. I did test it. That's how I got this video that I'm playing during his debate. The video on the right. That was a test. I put my camera outside, and it recorded the motion of the stars. QTA says, FTFE, oh, now I can't eat. Craig is, he's pretty funny. Yeah, Coffee House Theology, you know exactly what I was going to play. I've been calling it a public service announcement, and it's just a quick one for fun, but I got to find it. I don't know where it went. So, FTFE says that we observe the motion of the sky, or we experience it or whatever. It appears to be in motion. So what that means to me is the sky's most definitely in motion, because everybody that's in this debate even says that the sky is turning, that the stars are going in motion. So what Artist of El Elyon says, the rakia rotates, bros. It turns. And it's quite obvious. And then they say, well, it can't be just turning because there's a north axis of rotation and a south axis of rotation of the sky. And I say, yep, that's because it's in motion. It's turning. And depending on where you are on the earth, it's going to look different because you're in a different place of the earth. This is why I don't understand why people have such a problem understanding that the earth isn't in motion, because we observe. There's how many people in the world? 7.8 billion people here now. Guess what? 7.8 billion people made an observation today of a stationary earth. A stationary earth. Who wants to debate about that now? See, what these guys are doing is they're fighting against the truth. And they're casting doubt and rejecting and fighting against the Word of God. Like we just showed with Pastor Anderson. That one verse, it's 1 Chronicles 16, verse 30. And it says, fear before him all the world shall be stable, or the world shall be stable, that it be not moved. And somehow Pastor Anderson turned that into, that's the earth being in a stable orbit. It's stable in its uniform motion, he said. And the word stable and motion are complete opposites, guys. That it be not moved and motion are the complete opposite, guys. Thomas Morgan says the clouds are moving, so the sand has to be moving as well. That's how they think. And I just don't understand why people, well, it's coming from this guy, so remember that.
And you know what? Let me tell you something. I'm sick of it, and I'm not going to back down, and I'm sick of people not backing me up on this. And you know what? If you're not going to back us up, then get out of here. We don't.
I think he was talking about stationary earth there. He jumped up on his stationary pulpit. I wonder if he thinks that's singing or in motion too.
Don't need your help. You know what? We have hundreds of people here. And you know,
we have hundreds of people here that believe a lie. Hundreds of people that lie to themselves, that are intellectually dishonest with themselves and to others.
You know what? Let me tell you something. I'm sick of it, and I'm not going to back down, and I'm sick of people not backing me up on this.
Sorry, I just got to have some fun with my program. It's just fun. Let's see here. What happens if I do this? Or this, I mean. Okay, let's get a better shot. Here we go.
And you know what? If you're not going to back us up, then get out of here. We don't need your help. You know what? We have hundreds of people here. And you know what? Let me tell you something. I'm sick of it, and I'm not going to back down, and I'm sick of people not backing me up on this. And you know what? If you're not going to back us up, then get out of here. We don't need your help. You know what? We have hundreds of people here. And you know what? Let me tell you something. I'm sick of it, and I'm not going to back.
That's a clip I grabbed quite a few years back, and I just laugh every time because I'm like, what bastard jumps up on his pulpit Isn't that I don't know. What isn't a pulpit like? I don't know. He's probably got like his. I don't know. Never mind. I'll probably stop talking about Pastor Anderson. Tony from Coffee House Theology said, "I can't hear you," and it was during a live stream, and I thought he meant he couldn't hear me, but what he meant was.
Oh, it's because I'm distanced from you. You'd probably have a hard time hearing from me right now. Should I have a mask on and that be muffled?
Mr. President,
You're going to have to take that off, please. You're very muffled, so if you would take it off, it would be a lot easier.
Okay.
I can't hear you.
Hello,
Yes.
I can't hear you. I said I can't hear you.
I can't hear you.
I can hear you.
I can't hear you. You're very muffled.
I can't hear you.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
All right, I can't hear you. I was. My computer's a little too slow, but I was trying to get a video during that. But it would have started looping and playing again, and that probably wouldn't be very professional of me now, would it? Instead, I'll just make you wait with nothing playing. I'm just kidding. Okay, now it's gonna start. I just wanted to remind you. I don't give any medical advice on this channel at all. But I did want to remind you that Joe Biden, the president, he got his booster.
Excuse me, Wolf. I got my booster shot. Excuse me, Wolf. Excuse me, Wolf. I got my booster shot.
Just letting you know, I kind of look up to that guy. So, whatever. It's probably... this crazy pandemic. Yeah, that's enough about that. Or wait a minute. Is it enough about that? Maybe it's not enough about that. I think it's not. I'm just playing a couple videos recently uploaded to my channel. Yeah, and that's the thing too is I wrote a letter to science the other day. If you didn't see it, go to my channel, and it's called Dear Science. A heartfelt letter that I wrote to my friend Science. But this is... I'll just tell you, there's a 20-minute speech or whatever that the old Prez did, I don't know, 5 days ago or something. And just so you know... the video we're going to watch is like 2 minutes long or something. But just so you know, I started editing through the video to grab the keywords that are in the video. And I didn't even get halfway through his speech. Okay? So if I would have went through his whole speech, it would have been like 6 minutes of these specific keywords that I pulled out. So check this out.
So while COVID has been a tough adversary, we've shown that we're tougher. Tougher because we have the power of science and vaccines that prevent illness and save lives. Omicron, fully vaccinated, and the unvaccinated or even dying. Unvaccinated, fully vaccinated. Booster shot, that third shot, fully vaccinated people get COVID, potentially in large numbers among the vaccinated from Omicron. Vaccinated people who get COVID, fully vaccinated, you should wear a mask. Vaccinated. Boosters are vaccinated. Vaccination is this vaccination process. Vaccinated. Simple. Get your booster shot. Wear a mask. Booster shots per booster shot. First 2 shots, and the booster. Booster shots are booster shots. I got my booster shot. Is booster shot. With booster shots, join us. Second shot. Second shot, one booster. You second shot. Pandemic first, fully vaccinated. Fully vaccinated. COVID-19, fully vaccinated and boosted per masks and ventilators. Vaccinated. 5 to 11-year-olds vaccinated. COVID-19, quarantine, Omicron. Fully vaccinated. Booster shot. Unvaccinated. COVID-19, get fully vaccinated and get your booster shot. Fully COVID-19 action plan. Vaccination and booster efforts. We're step vaccination rate. Vaccinated as vaccination site. Booster. Vaccinators, the booster shots in people's arms. Vaccination clinics. Booster shot. We've opened, excuse me, we'll vaccination booster appointments. Vaccinated. Vaccinated. Your own kid vaccinated? You can are vaccinated. Vaccines for vaccinated and boosted. COVID-19 case. Vaccinated people. Vaccinated. Vaccinated. Vaccinated or COVID-19 hospital. Unvaccinated vaccine. Shots in arms. Vaccine. The unvaccinated is more testing. Vaccinated. More testing.
So all I say is that when there's that much talk about something, and when there's that much push and whatever you want to call it, advertisement or preaching, whatever you want to call it, when there's that much about something, I would take notice and be real careful on all that. You guys all know where I'm at there. But it is funny, you can't say anything about it on YouTube. You say the wrong thing, they're going to kick you out. You're gone. Latter-day Saints is here. Welcome, Artist of Elion, Stanley. I want to welcome everyone here. And actually, we're almost ready to be done. It's a Jesus Freak Computer Geek. Hello, welcome. And Rebel Snarful, RH. I think I said hi to most people, but I haven't been seeing the chat the whole time, so... I just wanted to throw those in a little bit at the end. If you're not subscribed, think about it. Uh-oh, Latter-day Saints got it while eating Jell-O. Nobody eat any Jell-O. Ooh, wow. He has HIV-19 times a day every September 11th. Everybody pray for Latter-day Saints. He's a trooper. I'm just teasing. Good to see you. So what else is new? Okay, here we got everybody's got to change the day that they write on their checks pretty soon, like the year, you know. To 22, right? 22. It's going to be 2022. I might just have a video coming out about 2021. I might. No, I will. And 2 shows coming up, or 2, whatever you want to call it, live streams coming up sometime. There's no set time or anything. It's just I've talked with David Beverly from Jesus Freak Computer Geek, and we're gonna have like a kind of a study or whatever, and of course I'll be asking him a bunch of NASA questions because he worked at NASA for 12 years. But that sometime I want to have him on soon, and I'm sure that'll happen sometime soon. And I just always enjoy talking to him. And then also Michael Toon, MC Toon, will be coming to talk about, not like to debate Flat Earth, but maybe to talk about some other aspects of this debate. Not to debate about it, but just to talk about some of the things that seem to... I'm going to my messenger so I'll just let you know that way, because I don't remember exactly how I worded it, so when I asked him. So let's see here. I thought it might be fun to have you on my channel again, if you'd be willing to. I think we could have a meaningful conversation about some of the things that we know, and also talk about some of the things that we would like to know but have no way to actually know, such as the distance to the sun. We could talk about why you think we can know the distance, and also some problems with the idea of being able to know. Let me know if you're interested. And that's not the only thing I was thinking about, but the knowledge that we claim to have, like Jeranism brought up an awesome point that is the most simple thing, but it I don't know how I don't know how he came around to think of it in this way. And I should clip that sometime, or it would be, he probably says it quite a bit, and I know he's not doing too many lives right now, but when he is, hopefully I can go and ask him to explain that again. But he's done whole live streams about it, and I'm talking about the sun and the moon, and how we determine the distance to any of these celestial objects. Like, NASA claims to know the distance to pretty much every star in the sky. They claim to know the distance very precisely of the sun and the moon, and all the, okay. So and when we say, how do you know the distance? There's a lot of reasons why, or a lot of things that are said. But Jaron made a good point, and he said, if we use geometry or spherical trigonometry to, like, or orbital mechanics or parallax or any of these things, what we're doing is we're taking angular sizes and angles from the horizon, and angles, or the angular distance between stars. This is all observations we're making from the ground, and apparently they believe that because we could apply that, you could put a basketball on the end of the court and go on the other side, and you could do some math and careful measurements, and you could determine the size of that basketball. They think that works on things up in the sky too. So what they would say, but Jaron threw a monkey wrench in it. Really, if you're honest with yourself, then the sun and moon are the same distance from the earth. They're the same size. Why would we think that? And when you ask someone, why do you think the sun is farther away than the moon? There's a couple things that they'll say. They'll say, well, a solar eclipse, the moon goes in front of the sun and blocks it. Okay, so that's a legitimate one. I would say the same thing. I would say that the sun is, during an eclipse, the sun's behind the solar eclipse. The sun is behind the moon. That's what it would appear to be. So the sun is farther away. But why did they say it's 400 times farther away? That doesn't make any sense why they would say that. And they would say, well, because we've never seen Mercury go in front of transit the moon, but we have seen it transit the sun. And we just saw this 2 years ago, actually. I filmed it. But so all that would say is that whatever Mercury is, or whatever, that it's between the camera and the sun. That's all it says. So the sun is farther away than the dot in front of it. That's in front of it. Sure. But why? There's no reason. You know why they say that the sun is 400 times farther away, or whatever number that is? They say that because they have a model, and that's how it works in their model. They look at the sky that we all observe, and this actually brings up, towards the beginning of this live stream, Sean Hawkins, he has Debate Night channel. He was saying, oh, I just lost my train of thought because I'm trying to multitask here. Sorry, guys. I totally lost it. Totally forgot what I was saying about Debate Night. He was bringing up something that was relevant to what I was talking about. Anyway, that's my cue to play a video or something, because I just totally... Plus, I think someone just came home, so I'm hearing some walking around going on upstairs. I'm looking through videos to play. See, I'll play a video that shows you how... This is how I look at the sky. Okay, this video will explain very clearly, I think, how I view the stars and their distances, and how we see circular star trails everywhere we go on the Earth. If we point, our cameras towards that axis of rotation, whether it be the north or the south, wherever you are, you can point your camera up and you can see that circle that the stars are flying in. And I see them in a different way. So it's interesting too, and I'll bring it up real quick, is that John, that wrote the book of Revelation, that saw the vision of the time of the end, he said that he saw a new heaven and a new earth. And while this video is playing, I'll go grab that. I'll go to that verse and we'll read that, because I think that could be significant as concerning this debate happening in our world right now, and a lot of people saying that there's a big deception, and a lot of people saying that there's some truth that other people think is ridiculous. Be very careful when considering these things, not to take a position that would be unwise, or take a position that would be foolish. But I will talk about that in a minute. But this is how I think the sky works, okay? This is my way, and what I would guess is that a lot of the people that would call themselves flat earthers probably see the sky. They might not even see it specifically this way, but they would probably say, yeah, I agree with that. They would probably, a lot of them would. Now, I'm not saying all of them, but just take a different look at what's up in the sky once. And it came to pass after this that my spirit was translated, and it ascended into the heavens. And I saw the holy sons of God. They were stepping on flames of fire. Their garments were white, and their raiment and their faces shone like snow. And I saw 2 streams of fire. Sorry guys, my computer does not like me looking up Bible verses while the video's playing, so I'll rewind it a little bit. I want you to hear this. Listen to, this is part of Enoch 71. Just check this out. Now, whether you believe in Enoch or don't let your mind go to a place where it, like, don't let your mind go to Enoch is garbage or whatever you think of the book of Enoch. Just, who cares? Listen to what this guy that wrote this book said that this happened, okay? whether it happened or not. Doesn't matter if it's true. All I'm saying is that it might give you some insight into a reality that could be quite amazing to understand and to believe in, because it's real. And their raiment and their face. We'll go back a little further after this. Okay. So Enoch's getting taken up in his spirit up into the sky. And it came to pass after this that my spirit was translated, and it ascended into the heavens. And I saw the holy sons of God. They were stepping on flames of fire. Their garments were white, and their raiment and their faces shone like snow. And I saw 2 streams of fire, and the light of that fire shone like hyacinth. And I fell on my face before the Lord of spirits. And the angel Michael, one of the archangels, seized me by my right hand, and lifted me up, and led me forth into all the secrets. And he showed me all the secrets of righteousness. And he showed me all the secrets of the ends of the heaven, and all the chambers of all the stars, and all the luminaries, whence they proceed before the face of the holy ones. And he translated my spirit into the heaven of heavens, and I saw there, as it were, a structure built of crystals, and between those crystals tongues of living fire. And my spirit saw the girdle which girt that house of fire, and on its 4 sides were streams full of living fire, and they girt that house. And round about were seraphim, cherubim, and ophanim. And these are they who sleep not, and guard the throne of his glory. And I saw angels who could not be counted, 1,000 thousands, and 10,000 times 10,000, encircling that house. And Michael, and Raphael, and Gabriel, and Phanuel, and the holy angels who are above the heavens go in and out of that house. And they came forth from that house, and Michael, and Gabriel, and Raphael, and Phanuel, and many holy angels without number. And with them the head of days, his head white and pure as wool, and his raiment indescribable. And I fell on my face, and my whole body became relaxed, and my spirit was transfigured. And I cried with a loud voice, with the spirit of power, and blessed, and glorified, and extolled. Lift up your eyes on high, and behold who hath created these things, that bringeth out their host by number. He calleth them all by names, by the greatness of his might. For that he is strong in power, not one faileth. So, not one faileth. He calls them all by names, by the greatness of his might. Do you guys see what I'm saying when I say I do see a new heaven? And I see it in the way that I understand it. I don't understand it to be a ridiculous solar system, because none of that's real. None of that's happening. And this might be why you quite often hear me talking about rockets and space exploration, because just in the same way that I see a new heaven and understand it in an entirely different way, what they're doing, they do not understand, and they are bringing in the next age accidentally. They're being deceived, and they're being used, and nobody is gonna like what happens. And it's like How do I know all of this? Because of the prophets. They wrote these books that we can read, like the Bible. If you read what the book of Revelation, it might give you some understanding on some of these things, and a lot of people have read the book of Revelation, but Revelation 21, this is what John says, and remember that this is the same John that said he said, I bear record of the word of God and of the testimony of Jesus Christ. That whole book, the book of Revelation, is the testimony of Jesus. So if you read it and try to understand what's in there, it's not me that gives you understanding about it. It would be Jesus. And it happens in a way that, words can't describe how it happens. They fail. Words fail. He sends his spirit, and a lot of people are like, I don't believe in spirits. Well, that's up to you. If you don't believe in spirits, I'm sure that only the bad ones are going to get a hold of you. Because Jesus will send his spirit and show you things that you didn't know, and teach you things that you didn't know, and will change you in ways that you didn't think were possible. And it's interesting how I'm not interested in building up my life in this world as much as I'm interested in him saving my life for the next world. If that makes any sense. But John said this in Revelation 21, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. Okay, now, when I read that, I understand that to be not that there wasn't oceans or something. There, in this book, there's this beast that comes up from the sea. Well, that beast, in the rest of the book, that beast is referred to the beast that came up out of the bottomless pit. The darkness. The abyss. The deep. And I understand that to be it's below where God is, because God, it says in Genesis 1 verse 2 that it says the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved over the face of the waters. So that deep, those dark, deep waters, the abyss, whatever you want to call it, dark waters, waters above, it's above us. And it's where darkness is. That's where the stars, everything is at nighttime when God divided the day and the night. Let there be light, and he made light. And we can see the stars are light, right? But everything else is darkness. And then when the sun comes up, it brings more light. And then it goes down and it gets dark again. It's the day and the night. And it also has to be good and evil. Let's see what I just but what he saw, it's verse 2 in Revelation 21, John. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them. And they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them, and be their God. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain. For the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, Write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said unto me, It is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the water of life freely. He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. I think, and who cares what I think, but I think that New Jerusalem might just be coming down out of heaven from God right now. So when we have this debate, I can't explain with words how much it's changed my life. I don't think it would be possible. So, what's this? In the deep? No, that's not the right one. So yeah, I'm kind of, when I think about what's going on in the sky, his throne is there, and all those stars are encircling his throne. And they sleep not. They do it continuously. Since he commanded it. And then there's an end. And so, like the darkness, when it says, and there was no more sea, I think that's because that's not there anymore. The darkness isn't there anymore. And yeah, there's a lot of things in there in the book of Revelation, but I'm going to go check out the chat and say hello to everyone. Yeah, that Rebel Snarfle says great musical soundtrack. The link is in the description already in this video. So it's what is it? White Bat Audio. It's a YouTube channel. And I would recommend subscribing, actually, because I have a link to his channel there, so you can subscribe. I've been using his music for a little while now, and I think it's great. He's really talented at making music, and like all sorts of different. It all kind of has a similar sound. I don't know what you call it. Like some of them. Twitch streaming music is one. That's actually where that soundtrack came from. His channel's huge. There's so much content there, you'd probably never make it through it all. I know I haven't. I'm just checking out the comments here. So like when John said he sees a new heaven and a new earth, it reminds me of something. Maybe I'll try to get it on the screen here. It'll just take a second. I'm going to open up a new page and bring you guys over there. Google. Oh no. I don't want to know what's new in Chrome. Go away. Okay. We're going to go to Bible Hub to the book of John, chapter 3. But I'll bring you over there in a second. Do we got the KJV available? I'm going to have to type in KJV, I guess. Or no, I could just go there. I'll just go there. Okay. And then I'm going to bring you over. Desktop. All right. And we're going to go KJV. Okay, so what I'm talking about is seeing. I'm talking about our eyes and what we can see, and that it doesn't necessarily happen. You could have a miracle happen, and you can have blindness that you might not even have known about. You might not even be. How would a blind person know that they were blind if people didn't tell them that they were blind? If they were born blind. If you were born blind, unless someone told you you were blind, you'd have to somehow try to make your way through life without seeing, right? Right? But I don't think that would be like a realistic situation. I think by the time you were old enough to understand what people were saying, you would know that you were blind and they weren't. I think they would let you know that. Anyway, that's like blindness in your eyes. But I've had a miracle happen to my eyes, and it's not like how I can see, like I have 20/20 vision or whatever. I have perfect eyesight. But that's not the eyesight I'm talking about. I'm talking about the way my mind thinks about something, the way my mind understands something, and I could say I see it differently. I'm talking about it like that. I see the world differently. I see the ground beneath my feet differently. I see the sky differently. And something that Jesus said right here. Check this out. What did he say here? He said, Jesus answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. So my question is that what just happened to me? I feel like it might have. So if someone wanted to understand what being born again is, I think that you probably understand it most after the fact. I don't know if you'd know what it was before. And I don't know if you could ever put it into words. But maybe it was just like what Jesus said. Except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. So anyway, when I look at Revelation, let's go back there. Let's go to, I had a different page open, so we have to start from scratch here. Revelation 21. He saw a new heaven and a new earth. So, he told us about it. Okay, now check this out. Since we're talking about seeing things, Daniel saw some things. I'm not going to try to go through this whole thing, but I'm just going to point out to you when Daniel had his vision of the time of the end, and like he had two visions, or they were dream visions, I think, or dreams, or whatever. No, look what it says here. Was it just symbolism or whatever? Let's find out. I saw, okay, this is verse 2, and I saw in a vision, let's count. There's 2 times that it's speaking of optically or like visually or whatever, seeing things. Okay, that's what I'm pointing out. So there's 1 and then 2. I saw in a vision, and it came to pass when I saw 3 that I was at Shushan in the palace which is in the province of Elam, and I saw 4 in a vision 5, and I was by the river of Ulai. Then I lifted up mine eyes. I already lost count. Is that 6? That's 6, I think. And saw. That's 7. Behold. That's 8. Do you think he was seeing these things, guys? Behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. I saw, that's 9, the ram pushing westward and northward. So when we want to understand what Daniel saw, and he said, like says he saw a horn, right? Let's say he said he saw a horn. Are we going to try to figure out what he meant by what a horn is? Like, a horn could represent a king, or a horn and it the kings are horns, but we could say that's actually in here. It's in the last chapter. There's these 10 horns, and they were 10 kings or kingdoms. Or anyway, so that might have been a bad example, but if we were going to say that these things that he sees represent, or they're symbolic of something, that would be a mistake, because then Daniel would be like, hey, I'm trying to explain something. I'm trying to describe what I saw to you. And actually, Thomas Morgan reminds me of this once in a while, a situation that actually works to like understand the way that I look at these visions that they had would be if we were all in an elevator, or that's not a good example. We're all in a small room and we're hanging out, and there's one window in the room, and it's only like 6 inches by 6 inches, so only one person can look out the window at a time. Only one person. So Thomas Morgan's over there, and he says, hey guys, I see something out of the window. And none of us can see it because he's got his head right in front of the window. We can't see. It's too small of a window. So he can only see out of there. And so what do we say? What do you see? And he says, I see this red thing out there. It's a car. Or he might say, it has wheels. I gave it away by saying it was a car. I think when Thomas told it, he said it was something really big. And it had lots of wheels, and it was moving on this black thing with these yellow stripes or something like that. And he would be describing what he was seeing. Well, maybe he was seeing like an 18-wheeler on a road or whatever. A red 18-wheeler on a road, or I think that's what Thomas is a trucker, so that might have been his example. But if someone describes something, what they're seeing, where does your mind go? Let your mind go there. I mean, don't have your mind stop you and go, oh, he's not actually telling us what he's seeing. He's telling us what it means, or what like some weird code thing. Don't think of it that way. He's describing what he saw. Simple. And and things that could get explained too in here, like he says what happened in while he was watching or whatever. And so then Gabriel interprets Daniel's vision. And this is one of the places where we find out the ram, in verse 20, the ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia. Okay, so that's what I was referring to when I said that. But look what it says. This is what Gabriel tells him in verse 26. And the vision of the evening and morning which was told is true. Wherefore shut thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days. But let's see here. There's another thing I want to point out. Okay, look at this. This is what Gabriel tells to Daniel. And he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at the time appointed shall the end shall be. The end shall be. So anyway, so what Daniel saw in his vision, maybe I'll play a video about this. Should I? Let me see if... I don't think I have. I don't know. I'll try once to get it, and if I find it right away, the one that I'm thinking of. I just think that there's a lot of significant things that these prophets saw that 50 years ago would have made no sense, but today they do. They really do. And you know, maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm the only one that can see these things in a certain way. I'm just kidding. I know I'm not. There's a lot of people here that see them. We've been kind of learning these things for quite a few years. I mean, like the thing in Enoch 71, when I read that about those angels encircling that throne up in heaven, when I saw that, and when I understood that, when I read that or whatever, when I first grasped that different kind of understanding of what the sky is, and then when I hear the term the kingdom of heaven, or like New Jerusalem, I think differently about it. A temple built without hands, Mount Zion. All that stuff's up in the sky, and it's not a solar system. That's kind of sad. Oh, we'll just end on with this video. It's not about Daniel. It's actually more on a lighter note, just for fun. Thank you guys for coming. I'm going to see if I can find the chat really quick before I click the video. Oh, cool. Thomas Morgan is still here. Cool. Artist of Elion says, but Joe, he was describing a Disney cartoon dragon for sure. They had Disney back then. That's a good one. Probably. And that's the thing too, that people like when I don't remember who it was that pointed this out to me. But okay, when someone talks about a dragon, you know, people are thinking of like this fleshy thing with scales, you know, maybe a little slimy and breathing heavy, and fire comes out of his mouth when he breathes or when he whatever. Like a creature. Okay? People are like, no, the dragon isn't the dragon capsule, not that. That's a spacecraft. And I'm like, yeah. And what, like, go read Daniel again. Go read Daniel 7. One of those beasts, the worst one, the fourth one, it had great iron teeth, and his nails were of brass. He was made of metal, guys. So don't say Satan's not a rocket until you're sure. But there is a dragon made of metal that's doing the same kind of stuff that... Anyway, let's watch this just for fun. It's not about a dragon. Don't worry. It's a fun video.
Earth is a giant ball of lava with a thin crust on the top. Thin crust. And it's mostly just a big ball of lava. That's Earth.
Giant ball of lava. Giant ball of lava. Giant ball of lava. Giant ball of lava. With a thin crust.
That's Earth.
That is real science.
And to talk about symbolism, we got the, nine-headed dragon rocket, run by Elon Musk.
Liftoff. Semper Fi, aim high. Go Falcon, go Dragon.
That's where you have to go to Effed Up World and watch his videos about all the symbolism.
If you look at these flat earth videos, they have hundreds of thousands of views, and just the thumbs up are just thousands and thousands of thumbs up. Look, I put up a video preaching against flat earth where I just mentioned it a few minutes in a sermon, 1,000 thumbs down.
Steady state operating levels at 100% thrust on the right 180.
there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven. So Satan and his fallen beings inhabit up there in outer space. But remember, the Bible says he's the prince of the power of the air. Now, these satellites, I mean, if they're all the way up there at outer space, could the devil have a play in that one? Well, they mention about one time where they launched a thing called Dragon, which is very interesting. That name, Dragon. And Satan is right up there at the stars, and then now people are launching a thing called Dragon, and Elon Musk is launching all these satellites up there.
Splashdown in the Pacific Ocean. Welcome to Space to Ground. I'm Isidro Reyna. SpaceX's Dragon splashed down on March 19th, marking the end to its 10th resupply mission. More than 5,400 pounds of cargo, science, and technology demonstration samples made it back to Earth on Dragon, with the majority bound for lab.
Okay, I'm pausing it because it was kind of getting skippy. And plus I realized right while we were watching that, I realized that right before I played it, I go, don't worry, it's not about Dragon. And then it was. It was the Elon Musk thing that I was thinking of, but the giant ball of lava. Earth is pretty much a giant ball of lava with a thin crust. Prove it, buddy. Start digging. Let's see. Too funny. Okay, I'm going to continue playing this. There's still 3 minutes left, and I was thinking I might just play some kind of funnier videos for a little while. And just stream for a while. Maybe it might not be saying too much, but I'll play videos for a while.
Laboratories around the globe for analysis.
I mean, it's a beast.
So how does it feel to ride in a Dragon on top of the beast named Falcon 9?
Yeah, wow. I tell you, I don't know if there's words really to properly describe what that felt like. You talked about sitting on a dragon on top of the beast, and it definitely was. You knew you were going somewhere. And this one was a little bit longer, so we actually had to live in Dragon for quite a while.
Ride in a Dragon on top of the beast named Falcon 9.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Sitting on a dragon on top of the beast. Yeah, wow. Sitting on a dragon on top of the beast.
It's a bottomless pit in this abyss of darkness.
I really believe in the space frontier, the abyss, so to speak.
A good abyss. A good abyss.
Or was it some technology like a Vimana or something, where they're trying to break through the dome? There's a YouTube channel called Effed Up World, which I'm kind of getting into. Guy's very religious, and he talks about the Bible where they talk about, wars in the stars and battles in the sky. And if you really look at a couple of those angles, it sure looks like there's some sort of battle going on. The symbolism with the SpaceX and NASA and the ISS, they're doing rituals up there, that match all this prophecy. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying any of that's real. I just find it fascinating.
Yeah. What are some of the easiest ways that you can prove that the Earth is flat? There are so many proofs that the Earth is flat. It's difficult to know where to start. And it's not okay to think that the Earth is a sphere. This is not a viable argument. There are proofs all around you. It is not difficult to know that the Earth is flat. In fact, people have known this for way more than 2,000 years. Go out to a lake, flat. And you could make all kinds of measurements. Then there are some other proofs that are a little more obscure, but they're actually really lovely. So people have known that the Earth is flat for thousands of years. It's not okay to say that the Earth curved. It's something where I keep getting this question. We really need to put this question to bed because we've known the Earth is flat. Flat.
Earth is a giant ball of lava with a...
Whoa, I was caught off guard there. That ended quicker than I thought it was. I was scrolling through other videos to try to find some different ones. Or some other ones, some good ones. So we'll find one right now. Ooh, that's a good one. Let's play that. This one isn't as funny. It's not really funny at all. Ooh, I gotta find it though. I named it Masked Hysteria. And it describes... Oh, wait, what is it? It's not... You'll see. The Bible describes some of these things. And you know what? I'm like unhappy with YouTube because I had a couple videos about covering of faces that I had to take down off of my channel before they gave me a strike for them. And it wasn't me saying anything about that in the videos, really. It was just Bible verses that mentioned the covering of faces, and the downcast of countenance. Like, I know that I can say that stuff, but if I tie it verbally to what is considered to be medical talk, which, however you want to look at it, I'll get my channel taken down. So you guys know, you all know that. Okay, I finally found it. Sorry, but yeah, this video, Masked Hysteria. There's some crazy things going on, and keep in mind, you know, like what I was mentioning about a new heaven and a new earth. I know a lot of you guys see a new heaven and a new earth. Literally a new earth. You see it differently. You do not live where you used to live. Consider that happening, and consider all these things happening. And if you see it, you see it. If you don't, pray to see it.
Wow, this gonna be first of many.
Upgrade the vaccines just makes common sense. One layer, you put another layer on it.
You're gonna have to take that off, please.
You have a physical covering with double masking.
You're very muffled.
Upgrade the vaccine. Double masking. You have a physical covering with one layer. You put another layer on it. Just makes common sense.
Excuse me, sir. Why are you not wearing a mask?
I have numerous complex systems which could be adversely affected. Don't mention it.
This is your brain on the mask. Any questions? When they keep touching their face.
This is what happens to your brain after
The mask.
This is what your body goes through.
With masks.
Wait, it's not over yet. This is what your family goes through. Your friends, money, love, respect, and future, and your life. Any questions?
And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 613. 66, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name.
Workers will be sent home and you will not be allowed in. Normal temperature. Normal temperature. Normal temperature. Normal temperature. High temperature.
All right, listen to this. A local Chinese restaurant is taking drastic measures to keep the staff and customers from the coronavirus. So no one is allowed to be seated without a temperature check. So the temperature check may be the new norm as this virus continues to spread.
Oh, sorry guys, I don't know why it's doing that. So I'll just have to give it a minute. I'm gonna close this other page I've opened. That might help, who knows.
I have passed out probably 6 times in the past 6 weeks.
You have to move back. You have to remember your spacing. Move back. It's too close. If you can touch the person in front of you, that means you're way too close. If you can touch the person in front of you.
Okay, you guys, I hope you can understand. I'm going to rewind this part to the beginning of this, halfway through or whatever. Okay. You guys probably know about her. Okay. This teacher, I don't really have to explain this, but what I want to point out is that this is like mental abuse, or to tell a child to behave a certain way while you're you're doing the opposite behavior confuses them. That's all I'm saying.
Too close. If you can touch the person in front of you, that means you're way too close. If you can touch the person in front of you, you can touch the person in front of you, you can touch the person in front of you, that means you're way too close.
I'm stopping the music because I know it's cool to just have the music go and it's like a video and it's all cool, but I just want to point out, I want to read this with emphasis. This is 2 Esdras 13:29-30. Look, the days are coming when the Most High will begin to rescue those who are on the earth. Those who live on the earth will go out of their minds.
I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogues. And ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. But when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. For it is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. And the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child. And the children shall rise up against their parents, and cause them to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But he that endureth to the end shall be saved. But when they persecute you in this city, flee ye into another. For verily I say unto you, ye shall not have gone over the cities of Israel till the Son of Man be come. The disciple is not above his master, nor the servant above his Lord. It is enough for the disciple that he be as his master, and the servant as his Lord. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call them of his household? Fear them not, therefore. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, and hid that shall not be known. What I tell you in darkness, that speak ye in light, and what ye hear in the ear, that preach ye upon the housetops. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul. But rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. And I looked, and lo, a Lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written in their foreheads.